let's go ahead and add her to the conference. My guest at this time is a model originally from Syracuse, New York, now resides in Florida. She was featured in the Playboy Girls of the ACC Pictorial October of 2014, representing her alma mater, Syracuse. I'm joined with Allie B. She's with me right now. Hello, Allie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing real good. Thank you so very much for being on the show this evening.
Thanks for having me on.
Are you enjoying the weather out there in Florida?
I am. It's finally summer here, a little hot.
Well, that's great to know, and that's great to hear. Uh, Truly appreciate you being on. I want to start off by talking about you being featured on this Playboy's Girls of the ACC. Now, from my understanding, you were scouted by Playboy representatives in a local bar, and they were looking for college students to represent the University of this pictorial. What was that experience like? How did you feel about at the time, and how do you feel now looking back at it?
Well, I was always a big fan of the Girls Next Door, so I had watched that all throughout high school. That was what was on TV at the time, and it was always a dream. It's really funny because I had posters. I had the Girls Next Door poster that I hung in my room during high school. So it all kind of came full circle. And what happened is I walked into a bar, and two girls came up to me and they asked me if I wanted to be in Playboy. And it really was that. It was really that simple. And I ended up shooting 3 days later. And about 6 months after we shot is when the pictorial actually came out. So I had kind of set it on the back burner because, time goes by and you kind of forget about it. But it was a great experience. And then I got to go out to the mansion at the end of October, and it was all great, and I loved working with them. It's a great company.
How did your friends, what were their thoughts of you being a part of this pictorial, especially your fellow students? You, Syracuse, from my understanding, it's a big campus, a lot of people there, and how did your fellow students? What were their reaction to you being on the pictorial?
Well, what's actually funny about it is I was not at school at the time the publication actually came out. I was living in Florida. I still am. And so I kind of was out of the spotlight for that. And for the most part, of course, my friends were super supportive about it, especially the people that knew that I wanted to work with Playboy for a very long time. So I was lucky in the sense that I missed out on maybe some of the criticism that I could have gotten from that just because I wasn't at school at the time.
So, what got you started into becoming a model? Like, how did it all started off for you?
I actually didn't model. I had no modeling experience prior to being scouted, and then once I did do the Playboy thing, I didn't really start modeling until after the edition came out, and that's what I've been pursuing since. I also really still want to work with Playboy. I'd like to be a playmate, so that's what I'm working on now. I also am a waitress at Hooters currently, so it all kind of ties in together.
That's awesome. So basically, that had to be a blessing in disguise. Like it's something that he came in with no experience, and then I guess as they say, the rest is history.
Right, and it was a great opportunity, and it really is crazy that just going out that night, I guess you'd say, like, changed my life. So it's funny how that was never in my plans to be a model, or I never thought I'd actually be in Playboy, and I get to do both. So it's crazy, but things change. It's awesome.
Indeed, it is. Yes, it is. It's definitely awesome for sure. So you are now a client courtesy of World Entertainment Agency, New York slash New Jersey based agency. Um, how did they get in touch with you, or did you reach out to them per se?
I think social media is a big thing for me, and I update every profile, between Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I also have a LinkedIn, and I actually use LinkedIn quite often, and that's where I've met most people that I'm working with right now, and that's where I met Troy and Greg, who work for World Entertainment Agency.
Shout out to Troy. Shout out to Craig. Those two very good people. Um, always put their clients in good projects. Put them in places where they can succeed. So, um, you're in good hands with those two fellas. I can I can say from experience as far as interviewing their clients in the past, and they move on to big things. The clients I'm referring to, obviously. So, um, shout out to those two, and I'm very happy for you for this opportunity that is presented to you. Um, so, do you have any other projects you got going on in the works that your fans want to check out?
Well, I'm going to actually be updating my Instagram and my Facebook fan page. We're kind of going to do a reboot. I've been working with a lot of photographers lately, so my hopes was to really change my social media presence. And so within the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot of new work up, and I'm really excited about it. A big thing of what I do is working out and eating right, and you can change your look pretty fast. So it'll be fun for everybody to see what I've been doing and what I've been working on in the last couple months.
You pointed out that Instagram name and Twitter name handle is at Ali B for President, which kind of segue to the next question. Would you ever consider one for president person?
Oh, no, that's so funny. I've gotten that before, but I don't think so. I think that sounds a little too hard. That's why I changed the S to a Z. I'll be a president of something else. I don't think the United States of America, though.
I guess at
You
least
never know, though. You know what I mean?
yeah, you never know. Like, Hillary's about to give it another try. You know, anything's possible. We got a black man being president. We may end up having the first female for president come
Yep.
2016. So, you never know. I guess you could be the president of Syracuse, maybe your alma mater. You know.
Yep.
So, who do you consider as influences, like people that inspire you? It don't necessarily have to be modeling per se. It could be entertainers or anyone, etc. Like, who do you consider your influences?
Well, I actually get a lot of inspiration as far as my look goes from high fashion modeling. Even though my body type isn't the same, I really enjoy that. So when I look for ideas for a shoot or how to do my hair or my skin color or whatever, I always kind of turn to those higher end magazines because, even though that's not what I do, that's kind of what's on trend. So I really like to keep updated with that. And I have to say, I'm a big Kim K fan. So as far as inspiration for looks and makeup, I turn to her. I love her.
Yeah, I concur. I love her too. She's definitely awesome. Uh, so what would your advice be to anyone that wants to get into modeling, or just basically just what would your advice be to anyone that wants to pursue modeling per se?
Well, I think the number one thing is I never really thought of myself as a model. And so, I think one of the things people think is that you have to be the most prettiest person ever, you know, and that you would think of yourself that way. And you don't have to think of yourself that way to be a model. And so I would say not to give up on that, even if you think that you don't have the certain look, you know, you never know. And then also meeting people. I mean, the best way to shoot with photographers is to, you know, go on social media and go on places like LinkedIn and just meet people. It's all about who you know.
So what are some other goals that you would like to accomplish? Like, is there any other magazines or any more patrols you want to be a part of? Like, what are some other goals you want to set for yourself?
Well, I definitely want to be Playmate. That's number one on my list. I would like to see myself move out to LA, maybe Miami. I'm not really sure, but I'd like to get to a bigger city. Right now, as far as what I'm doing myself to kind of push myself, I'm trying out different looks. You know, a lot of my stuff is swimwear, but I've also been doing other style photos just to kind of push my limits and, you know, expand what I can do, you know, as far as skills in the modeling industry.
That being said, being in the model industry, you definitely, not just you, but all models are under a huge microscope. Uh, People tend to nitpick, especially when they look at the photos and think, you know, that doesn't look good. Or there's always one thing: there's constructive criticism, and then there's criticism. That being said, what do you consider the biggest challenge you've ever had as a model? Whether it's a photo shoot or whether it's making an appearance, like what do you consider your biggest challenge that you've ever had?
Well, I think the hardest thing in the modeling industry is just you always have to be ready to do a shoot. So I'm really into fitness and I love eating healthy, but you always have to watch what you're doing. You know, you can't just take a week off at the gym. You can't just go out to eat all the time. And I think that's the hardest part, to be honest, because sometimes a photographer will, you know, contact me and be like, next week, you know, and you really have to be ready. So that's the hardest part. And I guess you need to know your angles and how you look good on camera. And it can be tough at first to learn those. And sometimes you'll do a stance or a pose, and there's 50 pictures that you can't use. So you really got to be aware of that. That's the hardest thing, is just learning how to get that perfect shot every time, you know?
I can definitely understand and respect where you're coming from. I feel at the end of the day, models are just like everyone else. They're humans. And I guess people think it's so easy to take a picture. There's a difference between taking a selfie and then there's people like yourself taking a actual photo from a photographer. And sometimes it takes one picture. Sometimes it takes more to get the pose right or make sure the background looks good. Like it's very challenging. It could be frustrating. And I've talked to models in the past, and they tell stories about how they dealt with photographers that may have put them in uncomfortable circumstances. Have you ever had a photo shoot with a photographer that may have put you in an uncomfortable position, or just maybe y'all two didn't see eye to eye or whatever?
I have never been in an uncomfortable situation. I think the main thing is to really do your research and know who you're working with. And on top of it, you also have to take into mind, you know, what they are looking for. You know, some photographers want to shoot nude, some want to shoot topless, and you really have to be aware of what they're looking for, you know, to double check that you're okay with it. As far as having disagreements with photographers, you know, sometimes there's pictures that I don't like, or mostly if I don't like something, it's the editing that I don't like. I haven't really really had any creative differences as far as not liking the whole concept of a shoot. And for the most part, photographers will work with you if you have a shoot idea. You know, things like swimwear, though, it's so basic that, you know, there's never really a conflict with that. So, no bad experiences yet, that's for sure.
Well, let's just say that's a very, very good sign, and let's just hope it stays that way. But there's always going to be that one bad apple that may ruin things. But at least you can say that all the photographers that you've dealt with up to this point has been good with no huge problems. For people that wants to keep in touch with Allie B, she's on Facebook. You can like her fan page under Allie B. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram, both under the same handle name, Allie B for President. That's Prez and then President at the end. And Allie, I want to again thank you so very much for being on the show this evening. Congratulations to all that you have accomplished up to this point, and continued success moving forward your modeling career and other endeavors that you plan to do. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Great chatting with you.
You have a good evening and have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That